Most people think that colonialism is no more. In actual fact, it's just been substituted by something stealthier. Just take a look at most relationships that most developed countries have with developing countries. In particular, the relationship that China has with the African continent. In this video, we're going to analyze if China's takeover of Africa is well and truly inevitable. Let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of the Untold Tales of Africa.
China has invested billions of dollars into the continent of Africa to build massive infrastructure projects. Much of this infrastructure is part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, an estimated $1 trillion plan to connect the country to trade routes all over the world.
So first off, why is China so interested in Africa? Well, as the second largest economic superpower on Earth, it takes a lot to maintain its current GDP and look for GDP growth. China is an example of an economic excellence, sure, but it can't do everything all by itself. Other countries are richer in resources and expertise, and controlling these resources and expertise is the key to rapid economic growth and dominance. Africa is a place that is overflowing with resources. A lot of people think Africa is poor, but this is a misconception. As the second largest continent in the world, Africa has been pillaged and plundered for so many years by many different colonial powers. In spite of this, the continent is the gift that keeps on giving. Africa is abundant with natural and human resources. These natural resources include diamonds, gold, oil, natural gas, uranium, platinum, copper, cobalt, iron, bauxite, and cocoa beans. China, with its 1.4 billion population, has no need for African human resources. As for the continent's natural resources, well, that's a whole different story. If we're still in ancient times, China would probably have no qualms about directly colonizing parts of Africa in order to get what they wanted. After all, the British, the Portuguese, and the French didn't care to hold back. In this day and age, China does hold some territories as colonies including Hong Kong, Tibet, and Macau. However, that kind of direct control can't quite be exerted over African countries. And so to get on with what it wants, China instead resorts to neo-colonialism. Because a lot of African countries are impoverished and underdeveloped, this creates a unique power dynamic between them and China. Chinese handouts in the spirit of cooperation, co-development, globalization, and charity are often anything but. Instead, they're veiled attempts to gain control of the African resources. And more often than not, they work. And to be honest, the fault isn't entirely on China. There are also certain African politicians who make China's job all too easy. These are corrupt individuals who sign shady deals with the Chinese, which leads to digging their people into holes. Rather than improving the effects of colonialism on the continent, these politicians only help the Chinese worsen it. In 2009, China surpassed the US to become the largest trading partner of Africa. Between the years of 2000 and 2018, China has spent more than $124 billion in Africa. This figure has surely risen significantly since then. They tempt African politicians with cheap rates, luring these countries into deals which are often difficult to get out of. As of today, the population of the Chinese diaspora on the African continent approaches 1 million.
This railway in Kenya, this road and hydropower station in Uganda have all been built with Chinese money.
China handles all sorts of projects for African countries. These include the construction of roads, hospitals, schools, military bases, and what have you. It's getting to the point where you need only to arrive in an African city and point in a random direction. Whatever your finger lands on, it was probably constructed by the Chinese. Now, don't get the impression that Chinese influence on Africa has purely been negative. These buildings and structures are things that the country needed but couldn't have constructed it any other way. Ideally, the relationship between Africa and China should be mutually beneficial. Even though it always starts out this way, it doesn't always end the same way.
Africa will join hands to build a China-Africa community with shared future that features win-win cooperation, happiness for all, and harmonious coexistence.
Our growing ties with China do not come at anyone's expense.
FOCAC refutes the view that a new colonialism is taking hold in Africa, as our detractors would have us believe.
And so, coming back to our central thesis, is China's takeover Africa inevitable? Well, from all available signs, it sure looks that way. especially if things continue at the pace and the direction in which they're going. At this point, it looks like Africa will have trouble establishing its economic dependence from the Chinese. But it's also possible that other economic superpowers such as the US, who are in fear of China's power, may intervene. Africans only need to hope that these bodies won't merely be using the continent to advance their own agendas instead. Coming to the end of this video, I really hope you learned a lot about China's attempted takeover of Africa. Neocolonialism may be a strong word to use, but there are very few fitting substitutes. If you're interested in learning more about Africa, please check out the other videos on this channel and subscribe if you enjoy it. Please make sure to like this video and please comment your thoughts on this topic. And keep an eye out for more content on this channel. Until next time, have a good day. It's been a pleasure. My name is Asher, and I'll see you in the next video.